anyone. We've got anybody, which we haven't.
No, probably not. Not yet.
I'm going to go and check first that it's gone out where it's supposed to go.
Why not?
With all the chaos that everyone's had. Well, we've got Simply Spooker. Yeah. Have we got things? No. We've not got things.
It's crazy. I don't understand it.
Well, it's gone off the... it's gone off here now. So I'm going to have to share it from Simply Spooker. I think I will have to.
It's getting a bit silly.
It's getting very silly, isn't it?
Yes. But anywho.
Well, there's not what to do about that right now.
No, exactly. Just share it to what you can. That's that.
Yeah, well, it's shared out already. I shared it all out.
Yeah.
So we've got us Eric anyway. Eric.
Good evening.
Got us Eric.
Yes, well, for the benefit of Eric, tonight's subject: hexes, curses, basically spells. Different denominations basically is what they are. We're not going to reveal any type of spell in that respect. We're just going to talk about it in broad terms as much as we can, because it's such a complex thing that it would need a comprehensive show, a 2-hour show, just on one of the parts of the title, such as hexes. But basically what they are, they're just, how could we explain them? Retribution, hatred.
Getting your own back, yeah.
Yeah, they're all negative energy spells. The types denominate the religion and background of the word, such as hex. Rita is of a shaman background, whereas curses are more religious based. Good evening. So, yeah, it's a language thing, basically. They do very similar things, but the way that they are orchestrated are different. For example, hexes use a lot of symbols and numbers. The original, what shall we say? The original practice of hexing, dices were used. Not dice as we know them today, but not with the numbers as such. There would be a mixture. You would have a number and a letter, and possibly even, depending what nationality you were, you'd have like little hieroglyphs and what they call, what you mentioned it earlier and all. I've forgotten. I've got
sigils.
Sigils, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that was the earliest form. You would throw them, and then of course, different parts of the world, Haiti and places like that, you'd be throwing bones. So
yeah.
And it were a case of how they landed. There would be a message in that, and it would be written in blood on a piece of parchment, given to the recipient, and they would post it to the person that they wanted to hex. Lots of different ways to practice it, as I say, but the same result would occur. The thing is that it's most effective if you believe. If you don't give a monkeys, then it's likely not to bother. Also, they say there is cases where things have happened, especially like with curses. We all know about curses from like Tutankhamun's tomb and one or two other things where I actually believe that it was a coincidence that the air had got that bad in these tombs, that the first people in there were getting infected with something.
Yeah, it was probably disease from the bloody thing that they opened.
Yeah, but it coincided because there was curses written down. So
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's powerful, isn't it? And the evidence then stacks up for that curse. But was it true? Is it true? We don't know.
Yeah. So also them sending them out has also got to basically face the fact that if you send anything bad out, then you have to pay a price yourself.
Yeah,
There will be a price to pay.
yeah.
I mean, that's down to people. Does anyone in the comments believe that that can actually happen?
Yeah, the thing is, when you do your searches, like I've done my search, and it was asking, basically was saying, does it work? Yes.
Hmm.
If you don't have the knowledge and skill to
No.
repel, yes, of course they work. But a level of belief is involved. So again, it's all that power of suggestion. If you've got a witch doctor stood in front of you, you know, dripping with blood and shaking a chicken's claw at you, cursing you to death, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I think it's going to scare pants off you, isn't it? You know what I mean? So there's going to be that power of suggestion, and you're going to go on thinking, I'm cursed.
Yeah.
So yes, of course it can work, but does it actually? If you've got stout mind, a strong will, then probably not. But there is cases, as I say. But are they coincidence or are they not?
Well, there's a saying, there's no such thing as coincidence.
But there is. I think there is. Well, I've had it. I've witnessed it. So of course there's coincidence. My God, we've had quite a lot, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Have you got anything to add to that? Because I'm going to go off kilter me. I just know it.
No, it's fine. You can go off kilter anyway. No, it's just the way that I've just put down the way that it's done. That you can't. Basically, you got your new age witches today who come along who think you can write a finger on a little piece of paper, set it on fire. Well, there, you've just sent a spell to somebody, hex somebody. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that.
No,
a proper hex.
It works for the practitioner. It works for them that sat in the little house in front of the little makeshift altar.
Because it gives them they're thinking, well, I've done this. It works.
It's more like a hobby these days. I think it's not a way of life. It's not a culture anymore. It's just a hobby. They buy the little resin crystals and they ain't got a clue what they are.
No.
Not everybody. I'm not going to tar everybody. Sorry, folks. No. I'm not pulling everybody down at all. No, far from it. It's just that it's become such a like paranormal in general. It's become such a hobby base, or people wanting to get into entertainment business, and anybody thinks that they can do it, and well, they can, but are they going to be successful at it? No. So, this is the problem. There's that many people got fingers in pies and the industry has grown up around it. Oh, we all know. Sorry, Eric. The amount of gadgets out there, and some of them, they are worthy because they're motion sensors, which, fine, I get that. But there's a lot of these algorithms, and people are sat talking to these gadgets that are chucking words out random. And the machine will speak about 50 words, and then one will come out that is relevant to the investigators, and that they'll jump on it. They'll jump. Oh, he said this. He said that. It makes me chuckle because it really does. And the amount as well, the amount of gadgets that these people have got, they put them out all over the place, and you think, I don't get that. Surely Spirit is looking at these and thinking, what are you doing?
It's just all commercial.
Yeah, they're not going to communicate. Yeah, they're just not going to communicate, though. Would you?
No.
No, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't.
I've got bloody sick of this questioning all the time, so I'm going to put off. Take off for a few hours till they've all gone.
Yeah, I think that's what tends to happen a lot of the time. But yeah, unfortunately, I was going to say industry then, because basically that's what it's turned into. But the field needs to change. It needs to have a shake-up.
And Noreen said, I think sometimes gadgets are a distraction. They are.
They are, yes, Noreen, they really are. We need to get back to a pure thing. But this is the problem, you see. 90% of practitioners these days, they're not psychic. They're not mediums. They've got not a lot of sensitivities to spirit. They are relying on these algorithms and these gadgets to do the work for them. And the problem is, out of 50 groups or people that's using them, you still have to have a knowledge and know how to use these gadgets to the best of their ability. You can't just stick it down on the floor and expect it to work. It don't work that way. But you find a lot of people doing that, and they're going to wrong places as well. Well, what's that?
Eric says I have different ones, but the skulls seem to work more than any other. The skull, yeah. Well, you've got a skull, haven't you?
Yeah, it's interesting that, Eric, because like I've tried to mention before, it's like, for example, you go into a factory that's never ever had any children in it whatsoever. There may have been accidents in there in past, there may have been fatal accidents, so the possibility that those places could be haunted, could have spirit. What's the likelihood to them having a lot? Not a lot.
No.
Spirit tend to inhabit places of demise on the time of demise as well. So just as an example, on the 5th of August, in this particular factory, in Clecudder's Fax, there will be spirit because they've come to visit where they met their demise. Unless you can drop on that day and that time, are you likely to find spirit? No. It's crazy that these people expect spirit to come to them. It doesn't work that way. I've been to places that I've got favourites. Just to go on. I'll let Noreen mention what.
Noreen, they have a place if you understand the gadget, but too many people still rely on gadgets and not the senses.
Yeah, but that brings me back to it because again, I've digressed, haven't I? So in this factory, if you manage to drop on and then you set these gadgets out, you've got a teddy, you've got a doll, you've got all these things in this factory that this factory's never seen. Why the hell would you put a teddy on floor in the middle of a factory and expect a spirit to comment on it? They're just not. They're just going to laugh.
Yeah.
What the hell are these people doing? You know, people think when you think of spirit were sentient people. They weren't stupid things, stupid entities. They were like me and you. So it's like somebody come to my house. I hate dolls and teddies. I hate them. So if somebody stuck a teddy and a doll in the middle of my floor and started talking to it, the first thing I'd do is boot it. I would boot it straight through the window. And that's just me. It's just me. But I would. What the hell would I want that for? No, that's crazy. That is crazy. So my point is, be respectful of your area. For example, yeah, it'd be nice if you took a little doll, not one of these porcelain things that looks freaky, just a little play doll, or a Cindy, or a Barbie,
or a little puppet.
Into a hospital, a children's wing.
Oh no, we're not taking one of them.
No, it's in place. My point is, it's in place. It's relevant.
The appropriate place, yeah. Like Eric said, appropriate places.
Exactly. But they don't. They've got. I've seen people in middle of a park with these robots running around grass going. I'm thinking, what the hell are they doing? And there's no wonder general public think we're crackers. They're not doing us any favours whatsoever. I mean, no, it's just not going to work, is it? It's just not going to work. For me, yeah, fine. These speakers, but an open speaker, something that will only pick up what it's hearing. So it's like a super ear. Them, I like. If you could make one of them, Eric, as well, that's a good thing to have. Because it's literally picking up. It's just amplifying, basically. So you have to be quiet as well. So for an investigator to keep them shut, which is hard, sit in an empty building and just be quiet and let spirit communicate. Yeah. So let spirit communicate. So to use an amplified speaker would be a good idea, because anything it picks up, it'll amplify and you can hear it. And spirit do tend to transmit through speakers more than they do into your actual shell-like. I mean, this is why we use voice recorders and dictaphones and things like that. Because what we call them?
EVPs.
Correct. Electronic voice. EVP? Is it EVP or is it EVM? I don't know. No, I think that's actually the phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah, well, all it basically is before the gadgets and it's a quick fix. It's just like it's like the new witch, isn't it? It's a quick fix.
Yeah.
It's cutting out all the hard work, all the going back learning.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's another thing as well. I mean, if you want to go into something, you have to literally find old teachings. I would say this. If you're interested in hexes, curses, and witch stuff,
don't do it.
Get old. No, don't do it. But if you're compelled, get old material. Visit someone that's been doing it all their life, and they are quite old themselves.
William says, okay, so we're on a diversion from the original subject. Yes, as we do.
Yeah.
As we do.
So it's do your research, but don't just go to the shop and buy a book. You know, when you go into crystal shops and herbalists and things like that, they've got all these generic books, loads on them. Perfect example is tarot. Tarot originally, there's always been quite a few different decks, but the amount that there is today is absolutely unreal. And is any of them based in proper practitioner? No, it's not. They're just fancy words and fancy pictures on some printed cards. They don't really work for me. The deck that I use is quite a modern deck, but it's been formulated from old religion from old workings. It works on the power of 3. So everything is in a multiple of 3. It's on a mat that is in multiples of 3. And that's how it works. The difference is the cards themselves are quite plain in that respect. The pictures on them are in black and white. There is a picture, but it's an everyday picture. For example, a little path with, and it branches off. So you've got 2 paths from one.
Yeah.
So that's like a decision making, and it's got one word underneath in English, or a little sentence in English, like deception and things like that. So well, the thing is, we've been on a mat as well, and an everyday picture and an everyday word. When I've done the reading for people, they can take a picture. There's none of this need for writing things down and confusing people, and only you understanding them cards, because they're all silly king cards and things like that, and death cards and whatever. No, there's none of that scaremongering. There's none of that gibberish. It's an everyday picture and an everyday word, so you can understand it. You take a picture, you take that picture away, and it reminds you then as well of what your reading has been.
Everyone says, why do you think some tarot cards are plain? Who don't?
I actually prefer things like that. I really do, because there's less confusion for the person that you're reading to. As I said, I've just explained with my deck, it's an everyday picture, it's an everyday word, it's in black and white as well. There's no colour to confuse the eyes. I don't like that. So
it's this stuff.
So it's like, you know what you're looking at. And the way that my deck works as well, which is more compelling and proves its worth, really, is I ain't shuffling them cards constantly and pulling cards out until I can find one that suits for my narrative. That for me is for people that don't know what they're doing, that's constantly shuffling cards and pulling them out at random. The way mine work is I shuffle the deck, which is to clear the deck. Then I hand that deck to the person I'm reading to. They shuffle them and they place them in piles, and then they place the cards one at a time in the grid, face down. All I do is turn them over and interpret them. That's a lot fairer, that, for me, because they've given me that input to them cards. They've given me their story, what they're wanting to know, and everything else. Hearing Robert. So it works that way. I've been doing this job for years, and I've had a handful, if that, bad readings. And most of them have been because when I first started, because I didn't ask if they'd already had a reading, which I should have done. Because if somebody's had a reading with someone else, it confuses my cards. So
yeah, playing tarot cards with just pictures, you see, are made for a reason. The reason to help you visualize. Yeah,
exactly. But that's my point. My point is that the pictures on my cards are everyday pictures. They're not King of Diamonds and Queen of Hearts and all that rubbish, or 3 cups and all that. No, the things that people can understand. As I say, it's a picture where it's a path and it splits into 2. That means you've got to make a decision, basically, which path you're going to go down.
See, and you don't even really need a packet of tarot cards. You can actually use a deck of cards.
You can, but again,
my
point is,
you don't understand it. You know?
Yeah, my point is we can understand it as practitioners, but the person that you're reading for can't. Whereas my method, you can, because they've placed them cards. They've given me their story. and it's called the answer deck, and it's past, present, future, and an outcome. The beauty about that as well is if you don't like the reading, if you don't like what comes up, you can change it. If you're a person of habit, for example, and every morning you have porridge for your breakfast, to cancel that reading out if you didn't like it, and to start a new path, a new branch, whichever way you want to look at it, you have something different. Don't do the same things. Or for example, on the reading, it says, shortly you're going to go to a shop and buy this. Don't do it. Just don't do it. And it alters that outcome. You're on a new path. So that's another reason why it's a good system that I use.
William says this is the same for spells, hexes, and curses.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I know I've digressed, but as I say, I'm not going to, because when I was researching it, there was so many symbols and numbers and letters for various degrees of power and strength to all these hexes and curses, that to go into that, it's just a nightmare. It's a minefield. So we just decided to talk about it in general, and it lasted 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So we've just digressed like we do. But on that line, this is a personal experience that me and Nettie have had. And as everybody knows that's watching, I tend to do churches.
Wow.
It started at the beginning of the pandemic, and because there was very little else you could get into, and even a lot of churches had shut the doors, but there were still a few open that weren't frequented. They're just open churches. So that's the only thing I could visit. And I started to visit them and make little videos and really enjoyed it. And surprisingly, my group, Greeting Spirits, my private members, enjoyed it. So I've done it ever since, because trying to find empty buildings that's not belled up or got notices all over they're hard to find. There's odd one or two air bases, there's odd one or two factories, but you get to that stage where you've done them to death. So started doing churches, and my page is literally full of churches, but surprisingly a lot of people have copied me now, so I'm not bothered. I went first. But so.
William said, I'm the same when I talk anywhere online. I keep it basic so as not to confuse people too much.
Yeah, I'm just opening my screen up because my eyes are knackered. So yeah, we did this particular church. It took a long time to find. It was tucked in the edge of this little private village. We'd been up and down this road a few times, and I am a sensitive, so I sensed something just in the fact that we weren't able to find it. We'd even run smack outside of it to this little dead end, like a little plot, and it took me ages to try and turn car around and get back out.
We should have given up at that point.
Yeah, but the weirdest thing about it, I was sensing all the time that it just something it weren't a nice feeling, which is very, very rare with churches. There is, we know that there's certain places, they're usually churches that have been disillusioned and they are derelict, and they're derelict for a reason, because they'll have been devil worshipping and one or two other things. So they've shut the church down. They're not going to have that, obviously, and that's that. They move somewhere else. We know a few places like that. And they are powerful places, and there is activity, most definitely. But this particular place, it was a first, because it was very unassuming. If you look on my page and you find it, leave me some comments. So if you're a sensitive, for example, have a look at it and just give me some feedback.
Yeah, we'd be interested to know if anyone picks anything up from that.
Yeah, definitely. But this place were open. It were an open church. It was very mucky. I know I'm giving you clues here, but there is churches, and I've done a few that have been mucky. But this one wasn't particularly well kept.
No.
But the minute we walked in, there was a sense, there was a feeling about it. Like somebody being up to something untoward. Thinking back, we didn't click to start.
No, we just went on in, didn't we? We didn't even look at all.
No. But I was sensing it all the time we were in there. I was sensing it. On reflection, there were a lot of indicators. For example, the road that we couldn't get down to find, and it weren't down there. It was outside of this church, and the boundary wall was covered in very well-known plants and flowers and herbs that people use to, what's the word? I'm trying to be sensitive here, trying to be very careful what I say.
Ward, bind.
Yeah, binding. They were like binding plants and whatever, wardings off plants, you know. Some plants that lighten the atmosphere. So that told me something on reflection. I did notice them, hazel trees, so they must have been brought in. But this little picket fence round the other boundary of this church, which didn't think about till later, as I say, when we got away. Since then, me and Nettie, we've felt it. We've felt drained, really drained. It's taken a lot out of us. So would be interesting. I'm not going to say, like I've said, I'm not going to say anything about what we actually picked up or anything like that. I'd like whoever's listening to just have a look and see what you
think. So
if you get it, then I'll confirm it privately.
We've had absolutely nothing but bad luck, haven't we, since then?
No, exactly. Which
literally
very unusual. Very unusual.
I even had nosebleeds. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting.
I've never had nosebleeds ever.
No. So it would be interesting. But yes, there's been other places as well, but different feelings again. And there's two more churches that are very powerful for me. The very hit and miss.
William says Hazelwood is not unusual in witchcraft, right? Yeah, but the point is, we didn't see it on the way in.
Yeah,
we only seen it on the way out.
I totally agree with you, but the point is to use it as like a barrier around a church. That's what's different about it. That is definitely what's different about it. Yeah, I expect to see it in witchcraft. I'd expect to see it around an area that's being used as a coven. I expect to see it in a lot of places. I expect to see it as a wand. I expect to see it at the side of altars, witchcraft altars, not church altars. But
there was no altar. It was candle.
Yeah,
there was no altar. It was candle.
Yeah, where it was unusual. Let's put it that way. Very unusual. So anyway, there's two other churches that I visit quite often. One at the moment is out of bounds, unfortunately, and that's called St. Botolph's near Mablethorpe. Yeah.
I'm going to say which.
Yeah, exactly.
Robert, not a clue what you're talking about. This is going right over my head.
It's just different denominations, Robert. Different denominations. We have different words for the same thing. Is my first comment. Like a hex is from the shamanic, pagan side of things, whereas a curse is more from a religious point of view. They amount to very similar things, just different ways of practicing. So yeah, and witchcraft is just another. It's a type of pagan religion for the most part. But there's different denominations, just like there is in churches. You've got Anglican churches, Catholic churches, Church of England, Wesleyan. You'd be amazed just how many different denominations there is. And they all look similar from outside, but they're not on the inside. And the practitioners are totally different. Totally different.
There was nothing like that in there, was there?
Nothing.
No.
No, it was devoid of anything sort of spiritual for me. Really was.
There's nothing there. Even the candle holders were wrong.
It was not physically dark. It was mentally dark. And that's as much as I'm giving you. I keep coming out a little bits and bats, and I shouldn't. But you'll see if you come across that actual video, it's just like any other video that I do, but you'll feel it. If any senses to you, you'll feel it.
Robert, why would a witch take over the Christian church? I thought witches were nature people. Oh, not all of them.
No, and that's not my point again. That isn't my point. I didn't say that they'd taken over. They, I believe, had just put a barrier against whatever it was that was in this place. So in this instant, they were trying to do a good thing. So
I don't know. It was void, everything. There was nothing in there religious whatsoever at all. Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. But and in nature, like this is what I'm trying to get at is in nature, the way that witchcraft has been woven into the religious community comes from the pagan side. And there's lots of practices in a lot of churches that come from pagan backgrounds, such as harvest festivals and the like, and Easter, like the Easter bunny and eggs and all that. They're all pagan in origin. People think they're religious and they're not. So there you go. It's fascinating, but as I say, you do find for some strange reason when things start to go a little bit nefarious, it's the old religions that come in to try and right that balance, to settle that balance. And this was one of those occasions. But it didn't look like they'd been able to do anything with the church or in it. So what they'd done is they'd bound it into its own little cocoon by putting these plants and everything around the outskirts of it. So that oppressive feeling.
The facts here are some churches are actually building on pagan sites. Yes, exactly.
A lot of them are, yeah. A lot of them are. That which come on now. Rudston monolith, the Rudston monolith. I mean, that's travelled. That's travelled down from up near Whitby way, and it's ended up further down in Lincolnshire. And that's stood in a graveyard now. And there's a few, you find monoliths and megaliths stood in churchyards because they bring them in to protect them initially back in the day, because these things are disappearing. It's like these stone circles up in Dark Country. A lot of them have been systematically attacked, moved. So there's very little left. I've just been looking at one where there's just three standing stones it's in North Yorkshire. I'm going to mention that to you, Nettie, about doing it once my car's fixed, because we need some energy.
Yeah,
that'd be a good one. But
it took everything out really, hasn't it, since that day we went there. There was because all I got was a smell of dead flowers, grave flowers.
Yeah.
I came home in nosebleeds, and then the bad luck started.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy.
Not stopped.
I mean, people can say what they want. I'm quite a strong person in that respect. I've got quite a lot of psychic powers, and nothing usually bothers me like that. But that did. But after the effect type of thing, it was after. Yeah. It wasn't there and then. Although I was sensing stuff. Definitely
sucked
sensing
dry,
stuff.
didn't it? It absolutely sucked you dry, that place.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the job to drive home. But in fact, everything went wrong after that as phones cocked up and locked.
Yeah, nice, but phone would have come out. It just conked, didn't it?
Yeah, just drained.
The battery was gone.
The sat nav won't work. There were lots of stuff.
Oh, we couldn't get nothing going, could we?
No, not at all. It was crazy. And unusual for me, I actually slept that night.
Hello.
Because I don't know. Evening. So, yeah, you're a bit late, aren't you? A bit late. These part-timers.
Not to worry.
So, yeah, we've gone off piste as we do, but we usually do on a Sunday. We usually have informal chats, don't we? So
yeah, it's not so much stuck to one
but yeah,
thing.
St. Botolph's is the next one, and my favourite church of all time. Tiny little place, stood in middle of a field. It's got mega energy, and I've got mega evidence from that place. Yeah, the obligatory orb that shadows. And the best one I got was, because I think I caught him out off guard, was that face in the smoke.
In the smoke.
Yeah. Because I was actually told about it before I actually noticed it. I was told about it. And then later, when the picture were blown up, normally when you blow pictures up, you lose all semblance of what it is because it goes too grainy. That picture of mine did not get grainy whatsoever. It just became more clear what it were. It was like a chap with a big, well, similar beard, basically, but bushier. But in front of him, it looked like he got a great big, massive Irish wolfhound. It was clear enough to be able to tell you the type of dog that it were, because that's what it looked like, a big, scruffy Irish wolfhound.
Eric said you're going to take him to that church, right? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What, you mean the one where we come out and we've got loads of bad luck?
No, not that one. We are going back.
We are going back.
I wouldn't take you until it's been sorted. Definitely not. But yeah, this one, the one I'm just talking about now, is called St. Mary's Lead.
Oh, brilliant.
And it stands in the middle of the Battle of Towton in Saxton, which was a civil war between Cavaliers and Roundheads, Oliver Cromwell and the like. War of the Roses for a better title. And it changed hands quite a few times. It was used as a makeshift hospital. It's just one little room, one tiny chapel-sized church. But the atmosphere is so idyllic some days, and there is nothing happening whatsoever. You can sit there all night. It's open 24/7, so you can sit there all night and not get a thing. Sit in the pitch black, nothing. It's not electrified. So there's no interference from any gadgets that you decide to use, as long as you place them far enough apart. I can't state this enough that people stick all these gadgets down 10 inches away from each other, and that's just no good for me. Too much interference. So yeah, I'd just say use the basics, go and sit and communicate, or let them communicate with you, because they do tap you on the shoulder. They do move you if they think that you're damaging church by pushing, but you're more likely to see shadow figures and orbs and the like. I have had nothing audible yet, or should I say, I have had something audible, but not legible. So it's just a shush or a sigh, but nothing, no words as such. Not yet. But they are communicating, and they have started to. Well, I think it's a member of the clergy that's doing the showing his disdain a lot of the times. He protects women, and he protects the collection box. So, for example, I was walking past another member of my group at the time, and he shoved me out of the way because he thought I was going for this other member of the group that was sat down. All I was doing was going to walk down aisle, and he shoved me out of the way. But that were immense, absolutely immense. I just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I couldn't say what else. Thank you. I mean, thanking the spirit for shoving you, you know what I mean? But thank you. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that's the extent that I don't get spooked by spirit. I love it.
Boo Brothers. All depends what equipment you're using if it interferes with.
Yeah, well, exactly. But this is my point. Earlier on, before you got on, I'll mention it that if you've got no knowledge and you don't know how to use it, if you're not a good paranormal investigator, doesn't matter what gadgets you've got, they're just not going to be used properly. They're not going to be used in context. Like I mentioned earlier about Teddy's in the middle of a factory. They're just not applicable. Spirits are not going to go. Do your research. If you can find any history where it says that someone has lost a life, go roughly the same time of year that it's happened. All these things.
Yeah. Are you there, Brian? Oh, God.
With the wrong type of equipment, with the wrong at the wrong time of year, and this, that, and t'other. Do your research. Just do it properly, and you're more likely to get results. That's all I can say, really. Just people don't do that every week.
Eric says you got to know the distance you place your equipment.
Correct. Yeah, this is it. Because everything has a different field of potency. That's the best way I can describe that. So, for example, your REM pods, you need at least 2 feet. Anything not within 2 feet, at least, depending on how you calibrated it. If you calibrated it or it's more sensitive, then you can get in within about 6 foot. If you've toned it down,
it had to be 5 feet away.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Because it depends on how it's calibrated, doesn't it?
Boo Brothers, totally agree. You need to understand every bit of equipment and how it works, 100%, and history of place. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm lucky in that respect. I mean, I did all my trial and everything. Christ, 50 years ago. Yeah, I'm not old. But a lot of people are getting into it because they've watched a lot of these programs that are totally nonsensical and fictitious. I don't like them. I did. I've got to admit, I did. Years ago, but it didn't take long for me to realise it were all staged and everything. And then I had the misfortune to encounter one of these groups because some of my research was used. We got no say whatsoever. We didn't get any recognition. They just took what we gave them and ran with it and exaggerated. They exaggerated it some chronic. So I've got no, I've got no faith in these people at all.
Boo Brothers said after fame and fortune, most people are. Yeah.
Exactly. And I will say this though. I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. There is a big difference in different countries. In England, in Britain, it's more of a hobby, so we can afford to be. What's the word? We aren't being. We will more than likely do the investigating side properly because we can. We're not chasing funding. Whereas in other countries, like America, it's a job. So they pushed, in a lot of cases, into entertainment because they've got to fund what they do. They've got to make a living, which I totally get that. But I would just urge people to stick to the roots and try and make it as honest as possible. It's the producers that state that you must do this and you must sensationalize because we'll not get an audience otherwise. It's wrong, but unfortunately, that's what happens. So I'd say just read between the lines, watch carefully, because evidence, especially through AI these days, it's getting harder to prove.
Oh yeah, it's going to be very clever, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Yeah. It's just
I've got
another way
any
of
more?
pinching something off somebody else, isn't it? That's doing, you know.
Well, exactly. And I mean, the problem with copyright there is that you can, like with a song, if you change so many letters or so many words, well, the thing is these days, because it's so easy and clever and easy to do, you only have to state it. It's not my work type of thing. And you can get away with it. Because how many people don't read the small print?
No.
And something as simple, I'll again an example. I leave my morning message because I put a different morning message up every single morning. Now there is times when I'm a bit late. So my yesterday's message for good morning is still up there because I ain't deleted it and I ain't put a new one up. And I get people that's that automatic, they'll come and say good morning on yesterday's good morning. Because they haven't looked at the day. It'll say 24 hours ago, isn't it, at top of page.
Yeah,
And they just don't look. They just don't look. They just put good morning up.
Noreen says when money enters the equation, it becomes entertainment, not investigation. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we do it as more as more of a hobby in it to us.
Yeah, but well, yeah, it is class more of a hobby. But the thing is, we can afford to just go out and do these investigations willy-nilly. Because,
They've got a lot of money, don't
they have to deal with copyright a lot more.
Yeah.
But it proves that the industry has grown because, as I say, how many places are we aware of nowadays where the venues, it's instead of going to a pub for a pint, they go to an investigation at an old hall. Now these places are surviving due to this revenue. I get that, but the point is, the people that's play acting at it are getting drawn in to these venues, and they're all lumped together in one room. They're directed dib dib dub dub round these buildings. I just don't get it. I just don't understand why you want to do that with 50 other people.
No.
I want that place to myself. I want to be able to sit there in silence and do my bit, but I don't want to be paying daft money to do it. Don't make sense.
William says money is everywhere in this area.
Yeah, exactly.
Nor in TV programs have to have a level of embellishment to fill the time.
Yeah.
Rabbit. They've got to find a ghost every night. Yeah.
And what? Yeah. And again, anybody that actually knows how to investigate, it's not going to happen, is it? Because as I mentioned earlier, if there's a spirit, the chances are that they visit that place at the time of their demise. They're not there every night. They don't live there a lot of the time, unless it's residential. And then what's the chances of you being able to do a residential? It's not.
No.
They're usually cases like what me and Ian do, where the people involved don't want that spirit in their house because they lived there before and they're living there now, so they don't want them in there. So you've got to exercise them, exorcise.
Stories.
So that's another spirit gone.
Yeah, William says ghost hunting requires cash, Noreen. And Noreen says
But does it?
she doesn't.
It doesn't. Not
She disagrees here.
not if you're serious about it, like what we are. I've never paid. I have never been to a paid venue in my 50 odd years. Never. And I don't intend to do it now. If I'm invited to do a clearance or I'm invited in to just let these homeowners or business owners know what the crack is, then I'll do it. I don't mind that whatsoever. Gives me my fix for spirit, for investigating with spirit, and it also gives the recipient peace of mind. Which I've done. I've done private cases.
A few paid ones, but
Yeah.
a lot I will never go back to. There's only one I will go back to, and that is Haunted Museum in Stoke. And we'll definitely be going back there.
But is that this will prove my point then, right? Is that because it's the building itself, or is that because items that's come from all over have got attachments that's in that building?
I don't know. But there is definitely something in there.
And I would say because
or it isn't.
Yeah.
I just
would
know
say, yeah.
for a definite fact that there is. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that it's something to do with the items because they've come from all over the place. And if they've got attachments and you're lumping them all into one building, you're going to have a bloody good atmosphere, aren't you? So, yeah.
William South says, because it's a business, basically.
Yeah, and again, but we're talking two sides of industry. Are we talking the difference between true investigators and entertainers? Yes, money is in everything entertainment. Most definitely, I agree with you. But in investigation, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be anything to do with it.
Robert said, you need money to travel, money for overnight stay, food, drink, etc.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there as well. But the money, yeah.
William said it depends on the place and occupants.
Yeah. But what I mean there, though, is that the money involved there is your own expenses to travel, like you say, and what have you. It's not revenue. It's not. You're not making money from it. You're expending money because of that. It's a personal choice. But when it comes to entertainment, you have to make money because you've got outlays, more outlays than fuel and what have you. So yeah, they're all valid points. And
Noreen, don't get me wrong, I'm not kicking anyone that charges to cover costs. No, well, if people are going to go, so.
And this is the problem, Noreen. This is the biggest problem, that there is a lot that they've noticed. For example, I mean, I could give you examples where they noticed that there was a market for it. They've got an ancient building. Their business is floundering. So they think, ooh, there's a new way to make money. Ghost hunting is becoming big business. So they start, and because they've got no clue, they would charge 20 quid a head, as an example. And then they realise that giving people, because they don't know what they're doing, giving people a drink and a sarnie, and letting them run around the building is basically, it's not making themselves anything. It's just filling the building up. It's giving them something to do. But when they take the wages off for the staff that's got to look after people, they're actually sometimes out of pocket. So then the prices start to go up and go up. And then when they realise they can still keep charging and they're still getting these people in, they decide, oh, right, we'll make it 300 quid a head. Yeah, that's ethical, isn't it? No, it's not. No, it's not.
Eric said, if I ever decide to buy a big place over there, I would invite people to come in and to investigate it because I will be able to make money in other ways. Right, we're on 59, so I'll just do what's left of the comments.
Oh, my God, that's gone quick.
Hello, Charles. Hello, guys. I just got off from work.
Sorry about that. What's it on catch up, matey? It's not been too bad. It's interesting.
Robert says, as you say, Brian, hobby.
Yeah.
William, I think he's saying to Eric, how would you cover the cost of a big place if you don't charge anyone?
Yeah, I get it. This is what I'm saying. I get it. But like Noreen said, a fair price, not astronomical, not being stupid about it like a lot do.
Charles says it's too hot to investigate in Texas.
What about underground, Charles?
Right, we've smacked 8 o'clock, so I think we're going to close. Even though we've not gone on things, it's not gone. So
yeah, I don't think there's anybody on after us. There's nobody on after us, is there?
No, not on Spooker.
No. So we don't have to. Yeah, we're not on curfew, but yeah, we'll call it a night, shall we?
Yeah. Yes, William says interesting.
Cheers, William.
Yeah, because I'm not feeling well. You're not too good.
No,
So,
I'm going to get some food and kip.
no, America's got to go to work at the morning.
Yeah.
Still.
And I've just realised I've got the crisps. Ouch.
Right, guys. Well, thank you for coming on and watching us. And we'll catch you next Friday on Freaky Friday.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining. Later.